Tasty Tuesday, loves. Welcome to a taste of Lavina, Poetic, Empress, coming at you with a taste of Rainier, poet, author. How you guys doing tonight? You know how I like to get this party started. With Deepest Thoughts by Lavina, Expressions by Lavina, My Dirty Little Secret, and Emotional by Lavina. All four books are available on Amazon, or you can purchase them from A Taste of Lavina, poeticempress.com. And my shirts and things are also on that website. Hello. Wait a minute. You guys know I need to put on my glasses so I can see who popped in the room. Hello, Lord Fix. How are you? Hi, Tiffany. I think Tiffany J. I think that's, wait a minute. TJ. Oh, T Jeff Coat. I think that's what that says. Hi, sweetie. How are you? And Teacher's Spirit. Wait a minute. Teacher's Imprint. Apologies. You guys, please don't charge that to my heart. Charge it to my eyes. No, charge it. Don't charge it to my heart. I apologize. How are you guys doing? I'm so glad you guys have joined this evening, tuned in to see what we have going on with Mr. Rainier. Okay, let me see if he is in the building yet, so we can get this party started. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Oh, hello, Rainier. Yes, he's in the building. I just sent you an invitation so you can come on in and share, get this party started. Yes, yes, yes. And I hope he's gonna bring some light, uplifting poetry tonight, because I'm telling you guys, I could really use it. I'm feeling a little fiery, but it's not the fire that is it's the kind of fire where I want to sink my teeth into someone. That's not the kind of fire I want to release tonight or any other day. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a taste of Lavina, Poetic, Empress, coming at you with a taste of Rainier, poet, author. How are you doing tonight?
Very good, thanks, Lavina. Lovely to see you. Been looking forward to
You
this.
also. You also. How are you doing? How's it go? What's the weather down under?
Well, we're coming into, tomorrow starts our winter, so we're coming into winter, totally opposite to you on the northern hemisphere. As
Oh,
you come into summer, I come into winter for the next 3 months. But I've got to say, our
wow.
winters are pretty mild compared to what you get up over there. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to come to Australia because I love the winter months. That's what I don't like it when it's extreme, like the heat and the humidity. That's what makes it like unbearable. When it's humid and hot, I don't go outside.
We're pretty lucky here. The northern half of Australia is very tropical. That can get, like the northern states, can get pretty humid, whereas the southern states are not humid. It's more a dry heat. If you don't like the heat, best to avoid our summer because our summers can get pretty hot. But spring and
Okay.
autumn are beautiful times. Those 6 months of the year are fantastic.
Oh, wow. That's what's up. It sounds beautiful. Sounds beautiful. I've had another poet. Well, actually, he's a singer. He was on here, and he's from Australia also. And it sounds like a beautiful place. That's what I want to do. I want to travel everywhere.
You should, yeah,
Travel around the world. Just travel everywhere. And be like, hi,
the world's a beautiful place. Yeah, should definitely travel. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Now, Mr. Rainier, how did you get started writing? What sparked your flame?
Um, Growing up, and even today, I'm quite an extroverted personality. But within, there's that introverted side that is quite reflective. And when I was in my mid to late 20s, I had a relationship that probably changed my life permanently, in the sense that before, whenever life dealt me one of its blows, I always expended my energies externally, the bars, the clubs, the fun times. But after
Mm-hmm.
this event, I found I started looking within.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, I literally hopped on a motorbike and rode around this country for, which ended up being 10 years. And while I was traveling and I was reflecting inside, I started putting pen to paper to focus my
Mm-hmm.
own thoughts, purely for my own self-healing and to focus my own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I only shared this with a handful of people because even family did not know this inner reflective side of me.
Okay.
So as these handful of people started to read my work, they found that it was triggering off their own thoughts and helping them in their own journey, and urged me to share it. But because
Mm-hmm.
it was showing a very vulnerable side of me, which I kept concealed, um,
Mm-hmm.
I was very reluctant. But about 4 years ago, I started sharing it on social media, and then I found people were getting a lot from it. So then I released my first book. Eventually, after about 10 plus years of procrastination, I released it in July 21, and then the second book came out in January this year. So it was a long, drawn out journey, because I guess in the early years, in my teen years and all, Melbourne wasn't, we had our fair share of problems with racism and things like that. So for my own protection, and the times of the gangs and all that, for my own protection, I never showed that vulnerable side of me. But then as I grew
Mm-hmm.
older, I'd realized that, yeah, I still don't let people walk all over me, and I don't hesitate to walk into anything. But I'm also happy to show that inner side of me. So both personas now I've shared with the world, and I'll make it open to anybody. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody wants to take advantage of that vulnerable side, they're welcome to try it, right? I'm still the me who's knows my boundaries and protect those boundaries quite strongly. But on the other side, I'm happy to really show that vulnerable side of me without any fears or hesitations.
That's awesome. And I believe that if more, and first I want to say congratulations on both of your books.
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. But I believe that if more people would come to that place of understanding, it's okay for us to be loving and caring. You know, people call it vulnerability, but it's really us being in our natural state. And getting angry, that's a natural state also, because if someone does something to us that is not, kind, we have a right to be angry about it. Now, the actions that follow, that's a whole, another story. But we have a right to speak up and take up for ourselves and defend ourselves,
Mm.
So I think if people start approaching um, love in that way, kindness in that way, that it's not being vulnerable, that we're actually being who we naturally are, and being angry or, assertive and things of that nature, that's being naturally who we are, that we have to learn how to be balanced in that. I think that it's good. But I really think that it's excellent that you open up, especially being a man. Because men, you guys hold your feelings and be like, nope, I'm not sharing them. Nope, I'm not letting you in. So that's one thing about, I believe, the pandemic, that it opened a lot of men up to
Yeah,
share,
very true.
with not just with other men, but with women, because, I think that's one of the things women have always said. Like, they, they don't tell me everything I need to know. I want to know what he's thinking. I want to know what he's feeling.
Mm.
So you guys are coming around again, you know, because I believe in when I listen to some some of the music from like the 70s and 60s, men shared how they felt
Yeah.
more so.
Yeah.
But then it was a period where you guys was like, nope, I'm not saying a thing,
Yeah.
So that is
That
good.
was
That's excellent.
particularly true here in Australia too, because it was a country that was built, and it's a young country, and it was built by, well, the first migrants were the convicts, and the jailers were people that the United Kingdom wanted to get rid of from their own communities. So it was a big, vast land that had to be built by hard people. And then we had the European migrants after the depression that came out here, the Italians, the Greeks, the Maltese, that were responsible for a lot of building and construction and so forth. And it was a hard land. So that even today, the mindset is the world owes you nothing. If you want a piece of the world, you've got to go out and carve it. And that's the whole mindset here. So sometimes our culture can come across as cold or hard, but that's the reality of it. We've got no time for somebody who's going to sit in the armchair and complain, hey, I need this, I need that, life stuff. It doesn't give. If you want something, you go out and build it, you go out and make it, you go out and carve that piece of life. You made a valid point there. What is very encouraging to see, especially amongst the younger generation of males, like my son's age, for example, he's in his mid-20s, there's they are more open to showing their emotions and showing that vulnerable side of them more, which is great, because at the end of the day, we're made up of 46 chromosomes, right? Male and female. We don't need to conceal any half of that. We can show, similarly for females, young females, to show that more assertive side of them instead of being the subservient gender. It's really encouraging to know, as far as to see that happening more and more. They're still not 100% there, but life begins goes one step at a time, right? So it's most encouraging to see that. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I totally agree. Now, please, Mr. Rainier, would you please give us a taste of you?
The taste of me. Well, I think a good place to start would have to be the very first poem I ever wrote. And it's the first poem in my first book as well. And this speaks of that relationship that came about that brought that transition in my life. It was an uncanny relationship. It was like we would walk down the street and one would answer, but the question was never asked. We were like two halves of an apple, and the rest of the brought together, and the rest of the world ceased to exist. So that relationship couldn't go on because we would not have grown or developed or experienced life as we did many years, over the many years that followed that relationship. It was hard. We never had a harsh word. We never had an argument, but it was hard. Lucky I had my martial arts to ground me, and she ended up in a psychologist's office 3 days a week. She was a nervous wreck. She was a school teacher, and he put her on a crash course in yoga and meditation 5 days a week so she could get back on a stable footing. So this piece talks of that relationship, and it's titled "A Mirror of Time." In that crowded room, I looked deep into her eyes as she did unto mine. There she stood in all her radiant beauty, a goddess in earthly form, an image which drowned the crowd to oblivion, a state of non-existence. Captivated I stood, my legs could run no more. As our eyes looked on, there was a glimpse of recognition of a time way back when, at the start of creation. A strange chill ran up my spine and slowly spread throughout my being. What was this strange feeling? Who was this mystical being? Why did my feet stop moving? Paralyzed I stood, no alternative at hand. Where was the world I once lived in? Where did it all go? As the trembling subsided, slowly in time we settled in fine. The more I gazed into her eyes, the deeper I was drawn to depths unknown unto this time. Our individual worlds ceased to exist. We could not resist. Who was this lady with clear blue eyes? In her eyes, I saw many reflections of times so long ago, of love and hurt, of joy and sorrow, the many dreams of yesteryear. At first, it was far beyond my understanding. Then I looked much deeper. It was then I realized I was looking in a mirror at my own true self, to the very core of my true being, masked until now. Yes, she faithfully reflected the very desires of my heart and soul, built upon layers through a river of time. To some be the soulmate, to others a twin flame. To me, she was a mirror reflecting the totality of time, where good and bad, love and hurt, the yin and yang, all truly one and the same, reflections of a soul's journey to a center of centers, a pure nirvana, a universe within a universe, all within the course of time. At this point in time, I clearly see those clear blue eyes, like a sparkle in a clear big ocean, showed me my river, the river of time.
That was beautiful.
Thank you,
And the fact
Lavina.
that you got to experience that kind of love and that kind of light and to see yourself, you know, in another human being. That is awesome.
It was, I wrote that over 30 years ago, and it still chokes me today when I read that, because it was such an important part in my life. Without that event coming into my life, and it was probably the most crucial, excruciating, painful experience I've ever had the day she walked out the door. I still remember that pain today. But without that, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I probably would have been fertilizing the daisies or locked up in a jail the way my life was going. And the message there that I have to my readers is, no matter how dark or the darkest passage in your time is probably the best gift. If there's a, whatever label you want to give it, whether it's a God, a creative force, a universal force, whatever it is, the point of creation, whatever label you want to give that, that is the best gift that one could be given, if it gives you a chance of experiencing your journey in the entirety of time through this life and the many lives hereafter. Through the darkest pain comes the best gift. Remember that.
Yeah. You know, you are telling the truth. That's where our gifts and talents, that's where we find out who we really are. It's in the dark, you know, and when people, they sometimes fear the dark, or they don't want to, you know, be in the dark and things of that nature. But I'm like, that's where you shine at. That's where truth is revealed. You know, that's where you'll know, like you said, who you are. If it wasn't for that experience, you know, you wouldn't be who you are today.
Yes,
so,
agreed.
Yeah.
And I
so
think,
that's awesome.
And I think that as writers, I think that authenticity is very important, particularly if they're writing on subjects such as helping others to develop or to grow through their own journey. I don't prescribe, and I don't see my journey as a prescriptive solution to anybody at all. All I hope is that from my words, it triggers off the reader's own thoughts to help them in their journey, because we don't see life through each other's eyes. You and I could have lost a loved one, but I still cannot pretend to understand exactly what you're going through. I can talk from my experience, because the love that we lost might have had a different depth of connection to each of us.
Everybody process is different. The pain for you might be greater for me or less than for me.
Yeah.
So so definitely it's the things that we face in life, whether it's death or love, whether it's a physical reaction to something, like something physically happens to us for the better. It might not, if something could happen that's not so good. We're going to all react to those different. Sometimes things happen to people and there's no response. Like it doesn't affect them, and that's not to say that they're a monster or whatever. They're just at a place in life, because we don't know what they've gone through until they tell us, where they've learned how to deal with certain pain, and whatnot. So
some will tend to shut it
totally
off and hope
agree.
it goes away because they don't have that emotional vulnerability or emotional maturity to deal with that any deeper, which is not wrong. It's perfectly right. We can only do with the best with what we got. And
But
that's
I
why.
believe, I thank you for sharing, because it's important for us to share, because some people go through things and they think they're all by themselves, that nobody else feels it, or that nobody else is experiencing that particular thing. And when you find out that somebody else has walked that path, oh my God, it's like, okay, I'm not crazy, or I'm not by myself. And then you can literally reach out and touch this person, and this person, they might have, like, it might be one word they'll speak to you, and you'll get through that thing so much faster, So yes, I'm like, definitely, I love that you have 2 books out, so you're already sharing. Just keep sharing, because it changes the world. It changes us. It helps us. It builds us. It encourages us to go, to continue going forward and whatnot. It's just like, even tonight, with you coming on the show, you were on, I met you through, one night you popped in because my guest didn't show up, and you were caring enough to come on the screen, and you shared some poetry, which, was excellent. And tonight, I'm gonna tell you, today I had a day that had me having thoughts of, there's no way. I was like, God, there's no way I can go on this show tonight and be how I am. I needed to process and release the anger. But all I thought about, you just kept coming up in my mind. Like, we have this date set, and you've been looking forward to it, and I've been looking forward to having you on the show. I was like, and I always pray, I want to mature, I want to grow, and with wanting to mature and grow, you're going to experience some things in this life that are not comfortable, that will make you angry, that will hurt you. And tonight, I had to process quickly. And the funny thing was, I didn't want to. I was like, no, I want to be mad. I want to flip that person's tail on but I was like, nope. So there's this poem I wrote, and it's a short poem. And the poem, it's about, telling somebody off. So I said that poem, and my son heard me saying it. He said, okay, now take a deep breath in, blow it out. And he told me to, he was like, do it again, do it one more time. And so I had to process quick so I can come on here and give you the best of me. So
Thank you.
Yes, we gotta keep going. And what you're doing is encouraging somebody. So if I didn't come on tonight, they wouldn't have heard that beautiful poem. And it was your first poem, and it was about love, your first encounter, with another beautiful soul. You know what I'm saying? And then I wish I would could see her name. Well, I don't even know if it's a male or a female, but there's someone who follows you, and she inboxed me. I think it was the person inboxed me earlier and was telling me how beautiful you write and you know, speak your poems and whatnot. That person, and that was an encouragement. You know, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She would have, you know, missed you because she was looking forward. He or she was looking forward to you being on the show tonight. So
I think I know who it is. I think it'll be Jennifer Rodri. She
mhm.
goes by Tenacious Human. I think she's in the
Mm-hmm.
room.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Tenacious Human. That is her. Tenacious Human. Thank you for tuning in tonight. So yes, we as poets, and not just poets, I'm gonna say pretty much all of us, we have a responsibility to take care of ourselves and to take care of each other, you know, to build one another, assist one another, and things of that nature. And that is like, for me, I feel really good when I give of myself and it helps somebody, you know, because
Yeah.
people would be surprised. It's not always about money. If you sometimes just seeing somebody, that person might need just your smile,
Mm.
you know, a kind word or whatever. So we definitely have to keep going. And Tenacious Human said, yes, it's her. Yes.
So the power of our words too, it can never ever be underestimated. Last December was a significant anniversary of my father passing, and I wrote a piece. So he passed away when I was 12 as a young kid, and we were very close. Matter of fact, we had a very uncanny relationship where he didn't even like my mother correcting me. He was happy to discipline me, but he didn't like mum to discipline me. And when he went at when I was 12, it was a tough pill to swallow, and suddenly I was alone in the world, to a point where I lived most of my life behind a cloak, behind a wall, for fear of loss. For fear of loss, I could even only allow my mum in so far through no fault of hers, which was pretty pretty hard on her. And through my adolescent years and all that, I went through life like that. And when I wrote this poem to commemorate the significant anniversary of my father's death on 21st of December, I had so many people from even across the US who were reaching out to me, who had recently lost their husbands and who had children, boys. One particularly had two sons who were 11 and 13, who was like similar age to me when I lost my own father. And it gave her so much reassurance to know that although she sees her two sons going through this pain now, there is hope for them to grow to be nice people. And recently, just a couple of weeks ago, Jennifer and I, Tenacious Human and I, wrote a collaboration about a female who had suddenly lost her husband. And Jennifer wrote from the perspective of the female that carrying the grief, and I wrote from the perspective of the male living in spirit form. And we had so many people reach out to us who've lost loved ones and are going through the grief, and it gave them so much reassurance that yes, they might have lost them in this physical life, but they are still there watching over them, guiding them, helping them, and it gave them that reassurance that there is another point of another dimension where they will re-meet. So the power of our words can never be underestimated, you know, about reaching and giving people that solace and healing in their own journeys through their own experiences. So
that is awesome. You know, yeah, so thank you. You guys have to definitely keep going and doing that because it's so needed in the world. Because there are so many people who are hurting, you know, from losing loved ones and
yeah.
whatnot. So that's definitely awesome.
And Jennifer's
Awesome, awesome.
writing is also always on uplifting people and helping people on their journey, which is similar to what I write. So we're now putting our heads together to see what should be the next topic. So hopefully in the next few weeks we'll probably have another one out, another pair collaboration out. But so many beautiful
Oh.
people on this community that do so much. You know, Denise Washington, who's in the room as well. She has been running some vigils for the 2021 issue with the Haitians. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been sort of joining her on some of those live vigils, and some of the beautiful people that came in there and had so much to share. That was
Mm-hmm.
sharing knowledge about the history as well. I mean, this one that was held last weekend, I learned so much about Haitian history. And all these are just fantastic initiatives that people are doing here to
Right.
really bring us
Right.
together as people.
Exactly.
You know, where there's no cultural differences, there's no geographical differences that separate us. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the good things from the internet that it allows us to do this.
Yes. Yes. Most definitely. And it's needed because, like I
Yeah.
said, we need one another. We
Mm.
need one another. You know, we have so much to offer each other. So that is excellent. Now, would you please give us another taste of you?
Certainly, uh, I'll give you a short piece that love exposes. I guess if you were to look at why are we here, to me, rightly or wrongly, it's to physically live the expression of my soul's journey, what it needs to experience. So within communities and societies, there's always judgments about that's not right behavior and that's good behavior, so forth. And love, often love is why all humans do things, right? Whether even a thief robbing something, it's for a love of an object or something that he misguided love, but still it is driven by a love of some nature. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And this piece is called a forbidden love. And I guess sometimes we do fall in love, which societies would deem as forbidden by man's standards, but we never know why. And this again did play a significant part in my own growing, I guess, through those adolescent years.
Mm-hmm.
A forbidden love, the beginning so confusing, love and lust I could not differentiate. The excitement, the passion, the secret moments stolen from each day. The patient hours we watched in silent anxiety as we waited for each moment that was due to be ours. When apart, short moments seemed like an eternity, filled with longing. Together held in love's embrace, a day seemed only but a short moment. Tender moments stolen from another, were they so wrong? But what of the fire and the passion? What was right and wrong? Are we owned by another, or do we give of ourselves to those we choose? The anxiety and the guilt, the pride and the shame, two minds seeming as one, all in the battle of the one within. At times, totally lost in a sea of love, sometimes bound in the fires of an eternal lust. Could she give so much of her if she belonged to another? The push and pull, the right and wrong, the chill of being on the edge of the line, confusion being a state of mind. The answers are known at this point in time. Such was the case of a forbidden love. So,
Beautiful, beautiful. You write and speak beautifully. Definitely.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I guess, sometimes we fall in love and really it was an experience, obviously, for her lessons to be learned and my own. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Society might have judged it as right or wrong, but who are we to speak? Who are we to judge? Who are we to set standards?
You know, um, Exactly. Because I think boundaries definitely should be set because those things keep us safe.
Hmm.
But when you start setting the standards of who you should love, who you should be with, and things of that nature, that's where the confusion comes in at. That's where uh, drama and, and hurt, you know, and anger and things of that nature come in because my thing is it healthy for both parties involved? As long as it's healthy for both parties involved.
Mm.
And even if it's not, it's up to the people involved to come to a place where they say enough.
Mm.
Because really and truly, people at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do, no matter what we say.
Exactly.
Right? So I have had to learn to let people be people and make their own decisions and just be there if they need me there, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it took a
The,
long time for me to understand that. But I'm glad I came to that place. I'm like, whoo, such a burden, heavy load lifted off of me, you know. So,
I was fortunate, I guess, from a very young age. I saw the fruitlessness of dogmatic sort of institutionalized preachings, and I realized that that inner spark within me has all the truth. So even to date, of a night or in the morning when I brush my teeth, I look in the
mhm,
mirror and I look into my own eyes and I go
mhm,
through my day's interactions and events that occurred in my day. And
mhm.
if my interactions with you, when I look into my eyes, if I have any guilt that I did the wrong thing, then I'm my own judge and jury. If I don't feel any guilt, then I know that our interaction, my part in that was honest and authentic, and I've got nothing to carry guilt. So I am
Exactly,
my own judge and jury, or that inner voice is.
exactly, exactly. Well said. Yes.
Sometimes I'm labeled like a hard man or a wild man because I don't conform to communities or societies and I challenge. I don't
Mhm,
respect positional, organizational positions as such, up or down or sideways. I don't respect that. Everybody's a human to me. The way I speak to a managing director as opposed to the janitor, it's exactly the same. They're both human.
mhm.
And if one does something is wrong, it's wrong if the other did it. If it's right, it's right if the
Exactly,
other did it. And by
exactly.
my standards, by my right and wrong. Not saying that's correct, but that's what feels right to me.
Mhm, mhm,
From my own
mhm.
soul's journey, my own truths that I've seen, I live by that.
Yeah.
And so every night, part of my ritual, it's almost in a meditative state. I take twice as long to brush my teeth than logically should. My dentist
That's
always,
because you're connecting with spirit.
yeah,
So what you start communing with spirit, it's a whole nother. So you might want to wait until after you finish
yeah,
brushing, and then
yeah,
to start speaking and saying, okay, because and it's something you don't want to rush.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You want to.
My dentist tells me you do not have to brush your teeth so long. You're wearing your teeth out, but it's
Thank
an
goodness,
age
yeah, you
old.
don't want to do that.
It's an age old thing that practice that, and I guess yeah, I think we all know the truth. I'm no different to the next person. You and I both know what the truth is. It's how far we're
Hmm.
prepared to look at and face that and accept the truth.
Yes.
As Christianity says, when heaven and earth are one, I look at my heart as coming, my soul as being from heaven, and my mind from being of earth. And when those two are aligned, And when I'm living when my mind is living what's in my heart, I think I'll find that balance.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, it's a beautiful place to be when, yeah, I like balance.
And I
Because
get,
balance, it's peace,
yeah,
and I'm like, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm loving you being on the show tonight because you also have a relaxing voice and a calm spirit. So I don't know what those people are talking about who, have any issue with how you live your life because it's a life of peace and freedom. You know what I'm saying? And that's always a good thing.
I, I guess sometimes when I was traveling around this land for 10 years, I had a lot of my friends sort of say, geez, you're a lucky man. Look at you. You've got no concerns in the world. You've got a blessed life. And I said to them,
Mm-hmm.
do you know, have you ever seen the tears of a clown behind the mask? That you're sitting in your armchair, you followed your dream to have a wife, your 2 kids, your 2 cars in the driveway, and your bricks and mortar home. I said, I'm riding with the wind. Sometimes I don't know where my next meal is coming from. I too have, yes, I might have the freedom if I'm here today, tomorrow I could be 500 kilometers up the road. But I too have a heart that yearns for love. Do you do you see me go to bed and the tears roll down my eyes? So why do you envy
Mm-hmm.
my life? Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because what they don't understand is that any and everything that we want and desire in this life on the path that we choose is costly.
Yeah.
It's going to cost us something.
Mm.
And once people start understanding that, they won't desire what they believe is, you know, the life that somebody else has. When they understand that the cost that you pay to live the life that you live, they'll stop saying, I want this. I remember a pastor, he said that when he was going through ministry school, that his pastor, he so wanted to preach like him.
Mm.
And he went up to this preacher and he started saying, "Oh, I want to preach just like you," and all of this. And his pastor looked at him and said, "You're gonna have to get cancer. This, your wife gonna have to die from cancer. That." Blah, blah. When he started saying all this stuff that he went through, the
Mm.
man was like, "Oh, uh, basically, never mind." So people don't know the price that you pay to be who you are, to live how you live, and to do what you do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's just like, and another thing they don't understand is how beautiful and great and brilliant they are
Yeah.
themselves. I'm like, take a look inside.
Mm.
I'm like, it is so much wonder and beauty and gifts and talents wrapped right inside you,
Yeah.
you know.
So I guess
And that,
if he answered, why am I here right now today? I'm living the purpose of my life and the experience that I have, which could be quite different to the next person's. As a matter of fact,
mm-hmm,
it is different to the next person's.
mm-hmm,
Is to live
mm-hmm,
my soul's expression. What does it need to experience in the physical to learn and to attain that
mm-hmm,
enlightenment, as you are,
yeah,
as the next person is? So I'm living my life following my heart. If you know that truth here, and that's what life is for, it's not about accumulating the houses, the money, the organizational status, and so forth. If you realize why we are here, then when trauma and tragedy comes our way, we know that it's happening for our own experience and our own learning inside.
mm-hmm,
I see many
mm-hmm,
friends who've happily been in marriages or relationships for many years, but they live very shallow relationships. Whereas my
mm-hmm,
learning is much in depth. And today I'm single, and I've had many, many relationships, but through each I learned and evolved through each of them. Yes, it hurt like all hell. I'm a human too, right? It all hurts. Every I've probably got more scars on my heart than people have notches on their bedpost, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I'm living that and happy to live through that, wear the pain and learn from it. But others don't see that. They just see that, oh, look at this guy. He's had so many beautiful women and so many beautiful relationships. But they don't see the pain that comes with it, right? So they have that envy.
Right, right. Now, can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you believe you healed from that pain?
Yes, very much so. Because one thing I've always done with every relationship that I had, matter of fact, a lot of my nieces and nephews always call me the rebel uncle. Every time they met me, they had a different auntie, so which is quite embarrassing. But especially when I was traveling around. Now, what I did with each relationship or each encounter, I never tried to understand or concern myself with what the other person did right or wrong. I only looked at my own part in it. What did I do good? And I tried to build up on that. Where were my shortfalls? And I tried to remediate that. So the effect of each end of each relationship was, yes, like any human, I hit the ground, I, hurt, hit the alcohol, party, whatever. But then when I bounced back up, the next relationship was that much higher and that much higher and that much higher, because all the time I was worrying, concerned myself with what were my shortfalls, what were my strengths. I can't see life through the other person's eyes. I don't know what she saw in me or what I did on my actions. So why am I trying to? And at the end of the day, I've only got control of this one body and what this person does. I cannot control anybody else. So why am I worrying about what they did right or wrong?
Exactly. Yes, yes. And that's how I live my life. I thank God for the relationships that I've been in, because they've also, and not just my relationships with, being married, all of my relationships with my dad, my mom, my sisters, my brothers, my friends, all of those relationships have taught me, and I've grown and matured through those. And it's something, because it took a long time for me, because I was so headstrong.
Yeah.
Some people might call it rebellious, but I thank God that I got it finally, So I don't care like who it is, and I don't care what age you are. I just hope that if that's what they need, just get it. Just get an understanding of love, and know that when you're in any kind of relationship, what's the purpose of this relationship? What do I need? What do I need to give? And what do I need to get from it? Because it's always a giving and a taking. It's not just take, 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 take. It's always a transfer. It's always circulating.
Yeah.
It's always going. It's always moving. It doesn't stand still.
Yeah.
So, and even though sometimes some relationships have to end, and it's going to hurt, cry or tears, and we have to let go. But when you can sit and, smile at what you experience with that person, that's the blessing. That is awesome, because I know for me, it's really good that I can sit and have good thoughts of my past relationships.
Yeah.
It does my heart good that I could think about something that happened at that time and laugh, or, and one thing that from my last marriage I take with me, and I thank God that he said this to me one day. He always said, Vina, prevention is better than cure. That has always stuck with me. And I teach my son that. I'm like, prevention is better than cure. Let's not even dabble in it to see what's going to happen. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, so that definitely spoke to me and has helped me to become more responsible.
And that
You
is a
know?
very powerful sentiment. My mum, both my mother and father used to always say that to us as kids. You know,
Mm-hmm.
prevention is better than cure. And I passed that on to my own son and
Yeah,
my two stepchildren.
yeah.
I think the other thing that's key is, as I said, besides the emotional relationships, but even every relationship, be it a business or emotional relationship or friendships or associations, anything, all those people that come into our lives have a purpose,
Mm-hmm.
usually a signpost in our lives to direct us. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's important to also know when that lesson is shared and done. Like ships that pass at sea, once they've exchanged their cargo, they go their separate ways. And I think being
Mm-hmm.
able to let that go and not staying in a relationship because you feel obligated, because you don't have the strength to walk away. But long as it's done in total honesty as to the reasons why, I think those friendships can go on. So I've been married twice, and my first wife I divorced over 30 years ago, and we're still friends. Right? Every
Mm-hmm.
relationship that I've had, there's been many, every relationship, I'm pretty much friends with every one of them still.
That's awesome.
Right? Because there was honesty. Even my ex-wife I divorced 6 years ago, we were together for 20 years, and we brought up
Mm-hmm.
our own son. Plus, she had two kids who were 2.5 and 4 when we got together, and I brought them up like my own. I've still got a good relationship with them. She was a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
person, kept a beautiful home. She was a great mum. I used to have to travel a lot with work 3, 4 months at a time. I knew while I was away, I could focus on my work because I knew she looked after her kids. The kids would be looked after, the house would be looked after, and she was taking care of everything. But once the children grew up and moved on, and sort of, well, our son being the youngest, when he was joining the army,
Mm-hmm.
what I realized was the gap that we had was she could only go so deep into her own emotions for her own fears. You know, like I had a lot of my poems written there, folders full of them. In all the 20 years we were together, she probably would have maybe read 5 or 6 of them because she couldn't go to those levels of emotional depth. And once the kids had grown, if it was just her and me, I probably would not have published my books. I probably wouldn't be sitting here having this interview. I wouldn't have this, my social media presence or sharing my work publicly because, because she couldn't go to that. Now, and look, I had a marriage that people used to look up to, put on a pedestal. So for me, I had to question my own sanity. Why am I walking away from this?
Mm-hmm.
If I had stayed on there, as I said, there would not be a Rainier presence on Instagram. There would not have been a book published because she had these
Yeah.
insecurities as within herself as well. If I was sharing an emotional bond with somebody, not purely platonic, nothing else in it, she had her suspicions that I was having an affair. She couldn't understand that through my words and through my emotional intelligence that I could help people and help people like me who probably grown up without a parent at a young age
Mm-hmm.
or in a dysfunctional relationship. And if I could help those people, how can I walk away? Because everybody is somebody's son, everybody is somebody's daughter, everybody is somebody's brother or sister. So how could I walk
Right.
away? Yes, I would have
Right.
had the comforts. I'd be married. Here now I live on my own and I do my things, but I'm happy because I'm living my journey.
Right.
People question my
Wow.
sanity. Why are you leaving this marriage? This is crazy.
Right. But they don't understand your purpose.
Exactly. Each of us have our own unique purpose. And whether I'm in another relationship or spend the rest of my years on my own, I'm fine with that. Whatever is to be. But I will not get into a relationship for convenience. I've never done that. If I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
into a relationship with somebody else, it's because we've got a journey to travel. It's because we've got a purpose to live. We've got lessons to share.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't just be I'd rather be on my own than be in a relationship with somebody through convenience.
Right. Right. And that is you are a wise man, you know, because neither one of you would be happy and you wouldn't be fulfill your purpose and it would stress the other person out. And that's not healthy for either of you,
Yeah.
you know. So yes. That is
So
a lesson to that's why it's so important to know thyself, you
yeah,
know, and to know what we are, our purpose, and things of that nature.
most
So
definitely.
we can, yeah, because the deal is you can have one conversation with someone and know if that's the person for you or not.
Yeah.
That that is, whew, that has kept me from going, you know, getting in relationships that I shouldn't be in. So, um, and
Yeah.
it's not to say that that person was a bad person. It's just based on who I am and what I'm called to do. It would it would have just ended in a disaster.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
I never even for a moment ever entertained the thought that any of the people I was in a relationship with was a bad person, because they were all beautiful people.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I used
Yeah.
to question myself that am I the bad guy? Am I the one who's got this limitless search that I'm doing? Is it what I'm looking for? Is it too high? Is it am I being the brutal one here, walking away from these and leaving broken hearts behind?
Mm-hmm.
I
The
question
thing
myself.
is, the deal is, you came, you matured into who you are. You understand? So it's not like like the first woman you were with. It wasn't like, did you know who you were then? Did you know, okay, I can have one conversation with this person and know if this person is for me or not? Or did you know that and say, hey, you know what? I don't care if she is not for me. I'm going to do it anyway. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so as long as you weren't doing that all these times, no, you're not a monster, you know, things of that nature. You kept maturing on the way. It's just like a woman, you meet a guy and you guys are holding a conversation and some things something you might say might trigger him and he might just instantly get angry. That's a flag. Or he might say in the conversation how he likes going out drinking 5 days a week. And that's not, if that's what's good for him, he likes to do that, that's fine. But I know I don't drink. I don't want to be out drinking 5 days a week. Why would I hook up with someone
Yeah.
who does? You know? So, or it not even, I'll use a, an example that doesn't even have liquor in it. A
Yeah.
man who goes to church 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I know I don't want to go to church 5 days a week. I'm not going to get with a man who wants to be in church 5 days a week, you know? So those are the kind of things. It's like we have to be honest, and that's being honest with self, you know, I'm not going to say, well, can't you just go 3 days a week? You don't try to compromise. I don't want to take anything away from anyone else to try to satisfy me. I want to, if I meet someone and we fit, that's fine. But I'm not going to say don't do this or don't do that so we can be together. We don't want to change people because we don't know what is going on in their life, what they need to experience to become who they are. You know, so
Yeah. And
that's what it is.
that gets back to that emotional stability and emotional maturity, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
I want to do something that I'm passionate about, that's no reflection, and it's totally doesn't interest the other person. That's no reflection on them by any means or manner, right? You know, if you got that trust. So as I said, I used to have to go away sometimes 3-4 months at a time with work, and my ex-wife and I, we had that trust. You know, she knew that in that time. It's funny, we had that trust, but then if I happen to share a close relationship with somebody as a friend where I'm helping them, and if there's female, then she had her insecurities, but yet I could be trusted 4 months. I could be in the other end of the world with work, and that was fine. So it was quite bizarre, but I think if you got that,
you know what it is, because it's the emotional connection.
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and see, this is the deal. Let me tell you, women, we do not want our significant other emotionally connected to another woman, unless it's his daughter.
yeah.
or the son. You understand what I'm saying? But when it comes to being another woman, unless it's his daughter, she's like, no. You know, because that's when the insecurity comes. Because, you know, when you're emotionally involved with someone, given the right temperature, things can transpire into something else. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's where her insecurity comes from, because we as women, and we know how we are.
Yeah.
We have the ability, and so do men, to seduce. You understand? So women, we know what men like.
Yeah.
So that's where the qualms come in at, you know. If she's like, oh no, go away for 6 months because you away and you working and you talking to all kind of people. But when you sitting down and you spending hours with another people, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I need to be spending hours with y'all.
Yeah.
But that's where that comes from.
Yeah. It's true. And look, I fully understand that, because, and I'm not being judgmental, I'm not generalizing here, but quite a lot of males, as you said, if they are in that intimate, in that emotional sort of connection, they, before you know what, suddenly they're seducing this other person, right? And I get that, but I also know that I can, and I've been on lonely beaches for hours, and I've been on islands just with one female, and I know I had control on myself, you know, and I knew where, if I was in a relationship, I knew my boundaries. But I know that, but I don't. It's not easy for my partner to know that. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I respect.
Exactly.
But the other conundrum is, do I then stop living who I am for somebody else's insecurities or trust, or do I remain single so that I can live my purpose? Or until
you just
I meet,
answered your own question.
or until I meet that person who has that trust in me as much as I trust myself.
Exactly. There it is in a nutshell.
Yeah.
That's what you can do, because, and the deal is, you know, being single until you do meet someone, that's not the end of the world.
No.
You know, that opportunity to grow and mature and explore and experience so much more and greater. You know, it's the opportunity to be able to study for hours and no one say, are you done yet? You know, so to accomplish some things you might have wanted to accomplish, that you know, you could do it when you're with someone, but it would take more time, because you have to take time and spend time with your significant other.
Yeah.
When you're single, it's like I could study for hours. I could go here. I could talk, spend this much time talking to, so and so that I like talking with, because it's not always a sexual thing.
No.
It's just like when you spend time with someone of the opposite sex and they get you, and you can, tell them things. Not even, and it's not even always about being an intimate. It's just able to have a conversation about science. You know what I'm saying? And I have to worry about, I'm gonna have to go to bed with this man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that is like the bomb, to be able to converse with someone, and that's what it is. To spend time with somebody, and that's just what it is. To share a meal and be like, "Ooh, this was the bomb,"
You just hit on something very, very key. I am a rich man for the emotional bonds I share with people, even of the opposite sex, but both sexes, globally. Because I live by myself, I don't care if somebody rings me up at 2 a.m. in the morning. If I'm awake and I hear that phone, I pick it up. And I have, through this community, and the number of people through my poetry that have connected me with, from the UK, from the US, my phone rings, as I have some great, very in-depth emotional calls or chats where people are sharing, and we share that depth of emotional connection. That I know people who have many friends and all who have been in marriages for 30, 40 years don't share. And I share many. The only difference is we don't have that physical consumption of that relationship. But I share a more in-depth emotional connections with so many beautiful people, males and females, globally. Matter of fact, last week I was at the gym. I finished a gym session and about to start my yoga class, and somebody from the UK rings, and this poor girl was bawling. She was going through it. So I chatted to her, then I went and finished my yoga class off, came back, and then I spoke to her for quite a while after. I'm fortunate to be able to do that, and now I finished my day's work. If I want to sit here and write poetry, or if I want to converse with somebody from the other end of the world, support them in something that they're going through, I can do that. Sometimes I forget to live. I'm stuck behind a desk half the time. But if it's helped somebody, why not?
The deal is, the reason it seems foreign to live that kind of way is because we've been so conditioned. You gotta get married. You gotta have kids. You gotta buy a house. You gotta, we got all these you gottas.
Yeah.
When the truth is, no, we don't.
No.
If you want to be married, do it. It's a beautiful thing. If you don't want to be married, don't get married. That's a beautiful thing. It's what the deal is. Purpose is so much greater than marriage or singleness.
Yeah.
So I believe that once we understand that, everything else falls into place.
Yeah. Like, I've got my own home here and I've got a fairly comfortable life. But if I needed tomorrow for me to drop everything here, rent my house out and go and live in the other end of the world, I can do that, and I will do that. I'm not tied to any form of materialism or anything in my life. And I'm blessed. I've got a good job. I've got a good home, and I've got everything I need here. But it's meaningless. I would give that up, and go and live in an empty shack with somebody if it meant that I had to share with that person in some developing country or some third world corner of the world that is probably not even safe. It doesn't bother me. Matter of fact, I have, for over 35 years, I've been sponsoring kids. I think I've sponsored about 9 or 10 kids now through like World Vision. And when I split up in my marriage, what I wanted to do was spend 12 months here tidying up all my commitments. And then I was going going to try and get a job with either UNICEF or World Vision or something, working on site in some developing country, helping within the community. That was my journey. But then my son decided to come out of the army, and he said, and when I asked him, where do you want to go and live with mum or go on your own? And he said, no, Dad, I want to live with you. And he lived with me for 4.5 years, and I changed my destiny to be here for him and continue to live in Melbourne. But now a year and a half ago, he bought his own house and he moved out, and I'm now watching him sailing his ship and captaining his ship quite aptly. I'm now in a place where, after seeing this for the last year and a half, 2 years, I know that I can go now to another corner of the world if I need to. And I know that he's going fine. And I know that, and I'm only a flight away if he needed me, but I know that he is fully capable of steering his ship as an able.
Yes.
It gives me that peace of mind.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That's awesome. And you know, him being with you those 2 years.
4 years, yeah.
Those 4 years helped shape him into that, so he could. So now it is, like you said, when you have that peace where you can go and know he's okay.
Yeah.
You know, that's awesome. Because that's my thing with like what I want to do with my son. He's long as he's good, I'm good, and I'm able to go and do and experience and explore and things of that nature. That's what it's all about, you know. Because we have to, one way or another. It's like you're going to fulfill your purpose on this earth. At least I hope everybody gets to experience it, because it's really a beautiful, great thing when you, like I said, just helping somebody, you know, making someone's day better, or just giving them a hug, a listening ear, you know, just being there. That's a great gift.
Often that's all we need, right? Just to be a listening ear, just to help for someone. That's a big thing if you can make time to do that. You know? Yes.
And sometimes I don't, you know, I've gotten to a place where, you know, I ask Spirit before I go, you know, lead and guide me. Do I even need to say anything? Because sometimes I just need to listen. Because they need to, you know, they need to share, you know. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Well, wait, we gotta do the 3 questions. It's for fun. I want one of your deepest thoughts, one of your favorite expressions, and one of your dirty little secrets.
One of my deepest thoughts.
Yes.
I guess one of my deepest thoughts, or one of my sentiments that I hold dear, is always to remain authentic in whatever I do, to live my truth, never ever say or do or be anybody for anybody else other than who I am, for the sake of peace, for the sake of gain, for the sake of benefit. Even often the decisions I make, the things I say, even in my career, I probably could be far more, I'm doing well, but I could be probably far more advanced if I was ever prepared to compromise my authenticity.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I'll probably be living happily married if I was prepared to compromise who I was.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. But you can't give up self.
No.
You might think you can, and might say, okay, I think I can do this, and it's like, no.
I could only live a life of pretense for a set amount of time, and the older I get, that's shorter and shorter. Now I probably can't live even for a moment. I can't
exactly
somebody I can't.
That's because now you know who you are. It's like, oh no. We're not even.
Yeah.
Not even. Not for a second.
Yeah.
Now tell me, one of your favorite expressions.
one of my favorite expressions. Today is what it is.
Today is what it is.
But tomorrow life will go on.
Today is what it is, and tomorrow life will go on. That is so true. Yes, I like that. Now, share with us one of your dirty little secrets.
There's one guy in the room who's saying I work with him and he's curious to know what it is, because I'm always, I've got these cliches that roll off my tongue all the time at work, so he's obviously expecting me to come up with one of my normal daily sayings at work. But yeah, one of my dirty secrets, I don't have a great deal of dirty secrets as such, but because I've always been an open book, I've never been hesitant. Even with parents, I always said what I did. One of the good things my parents had, I was a troublesome child growing up. Like with my siblings, my mum and dad never had to visit the principal, for example. With me, every term they used to have to go up because I was getting into fights and all that, all driven by justice. What my parents knew was if I was guilty of something, I stood there and took whatever punishment was given, and nobody ever heard anything. But if I was in the right, I didn't care if it was a teacher, even at primary school, I would go at them back physically. I was driven by that sense of justice from a young age. And so my parents knew they had that open honesty. And due to that, I could tell them whatever I did. So I had no dirty secrets as such. But if I was to hide something, I guess I'm generally fairly conscious with what I eat and how I live. But my dirty secret would be two things I cannot resist in life when it comes to food is cheeses. I love that variety of cheeses, and bacon. I cannot walk away from bacon. Even those two things will kill me one day, but I cannot resist cheese.
Bacon with some scrambled eggs and cheese, some grits, and some toast with some butter and some little bit of jam on it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, like tonight, we've managed to talk managing director, myself and my colleague who's in this room. We used to run the whiskey club at work, and we've talked to managing director to put on a whiskey and cheese night. So tonight I'm going to be absolutely smashing through a whole lot of cheeses and whiskeys. So my dirty secret is cheese and bacon. Those two are going to kill me.
Cheese and bacon.
I can walk away from the most hottest looking female,
that's a good,
but I can't walk away.
That's a good dirty little secret.
There you go. Yeah.
I love it.
So
now, please say hello to some of the people in the audience, because more people have joined the room. So say hello.
They've been full of a lot of encouraging comments, and I saw Rainier has just joined us. She was just being interviewed by Valerie on YouTube, and I was there for part of the show. Then I had to jump off here. Another lady who's got a beautiful heart and who's on a very similar journey to my own. She's driven by that sense of correctness, that sense of right, driven by her heart. And I'm blessed to have three people in this room who are like that, and that's obviously Jennifer Rodri, Rainier and Denise. All three of them I credit with so much because they're driven by authenticity in their heart and living their heart's dreams, I guess. I'm pretty blessed with that, to know so many. And, I really am blessed for the amount of rich connections I have, even in this poetry community. I really am blessed.
That's a blessing. That's what's up.
We were talking before about how people used to envy my life, because they never saw the other side of that coin. If I may, I've got a piece called The Traveller.
Yes, please. I was going to ask you for another taste.
All right. Here we go. The Traveller. So this was my life for 10 years, right? This is what it was like. The Traveller. As he arrives, warm smiles to greet, subtle hesitation, for they know him not. This is soon to be just a passing phase. All he seeks is simple love, peace and harmony. Unity among us all, for we make up this world. But trouble surrounds him. He seems to follow its wake. Perhaps trouble is his middle name. He hears a cry for help in the silence of dark nights. Somehow he is there at the right time and place. He pauses for a while just to lend a helping hand. Then he moves on, leaving no trace behind. No, not a footprint on the shadows of this land. Lord, peace, love, and harmony you have taught him. Why, when these you do not grant him? The sweet love and joy of kids you grant him in abundance, but still you grant him not any of his own. Often the love of the people, mistaken by others for reasons of their own. How to genuinely love you have shown him, but a wife he still eludes. I guess what good is a partner and kids for a life on the road? Is it not wasteful, the love he has learned, when there is so many that reside in love they have never known? The tools to be of help, is it not all he would need? Many cry out his name, but it is to no avail. Stay for a while, they say, perhaps a life, or maybe more. But just when it is felt he will stay, he is but simply gone. Does he not tire or cry in the still of night, of the many sad goodbyes to the many he has known? What is the purpose of his life, O Lord? Where does thou take him? On these long journeys in the dark of night, deep into places unknown. Where does he go? What does he see? Is there something out there that simply eludes my frail eyes? Is it to the place called Nirvana that he calls home? You seem to know best, sweet Lord. Thus I shall leave it unto thee. Maybe one day you will grant him all that you have taught him. Perhaps till that day, which only you know when, let the cold winds blow where the traveller may go.
I just love the way you write in your delivery, and that you write from experience and from your life experience, not just, so when I said from experience, from your life, you're writing, because we can see it, and we can see you going, and we can see the people asking you to stay, and but you're like, no, I have more work to do. There's someone across the way, or someone across the world, or someone next door, you know. So that's a blessing that you
you.
are living a life of fulfillment. It's a costly life, but
So that was written many, many years ago while I was on the road, and I've been sort of stable for many years since. But I guess in a lot of ways, my life is still like that. Although I'm in a fixed abode, not riding with the winds of life, I'm still here. But I guess it's still very much my life is like that, you know. And another quick piece that I'll share if you got time is one that I wrote.
Yes, please.
With
I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm totally enjoying myself tonight.
so am
Thank
I.
you.
It's been great, and the participation in the room has been amazing as well. So
Yeah,
it's
yes,
having,
yes.
having
I know. I love
people
that
like
they're interacting. They're engaging. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, look, as I said, three people I highly respect in this room are Denise and Lene and Jennifer, and all three of them are in this room. And yeah, they're just, as I said, they live from their heart, and that's what ticks me. I'm not into living from your mind, right? Because that's all superficial. I treasure people who live from their heart and who have that strength of heart to follow. Um, And we're all, being parents or are parents or have parents. This piece that I wrote called Father to Son, I wrote for probably in the last couple of years somewhere. And it's my outlook. It portrays my outlook on my relationship with my son. We're friends, we were flatmates, and then we're father and son more than anything. Father to son. Many years have gone by since I first held you in my arms. Within the blink of an eye, you walk tall in life's way. The years have been good, even amongst many trials and tribulations. Life prevails. The journey goes on, unraveling many mysteries. As you grow in life's way, I stand back to quietly watch you walk. All that unfolds in each day slowly reveals all that is you. Rejoice in this milestone, another anniversary of your birth. Dream of the years ahead. Plan the path you must travel. May the universe light your path as your journey gently unfolds. Leap from the foundations I have set. Let your dreams unfold. Walk not along the paths I have traveled, for this journey is your own. Falter not where I have fallen, for those virtues I have shown. Do not aspire to what I have reached. Make that your foundation. Reach for the stars. Journey into the great unknown with glee. Know that if you should fail, I will be there to break your fall. Once I have crossed the great river, paid my token to the ferryman, I will still reside within the ethers. You need not shed a tear. I will be right there beside you, shining light along your way. As I rejoice in your successes, I will be your strength in the darkness. Live your journey to the full. Follow the pathways of your choice. My love for you will always thrive, no matter the outcome.
Yes, a man of wisdom. That's awesome. Oh, so you just have the one
I
son?
have one of my own, one son, yes, but as I said, I had two stepchildren who were 2.5 and 4 when my ex-wife and I got together, and I brought them up exactly like my own.
Right.
And I share a good relationship with both of them. So I'm a blessed man for it.
Right. Right.
And as I
Yes.
said, I look at everybody as everybody's somebody's son or somebody's daughter, somebody's brother or somebody's sister. So I brought them up like that, and yeah. So yeah, and I think just because they weren't off my loins, that should never have changed how I brought them up. So yes, I have. In answer to your question, I have one son, but I got 3.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And Lene said that she needed that poem so bad.
I'm glad, Lene. Happy to share that with you. Happy to read that for you anytime. Yeah, the journey of parenthood is a tough one, right? It doesn't come with an instruction book, and we learn as we go, right? It's a tough one.
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful experience.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful relationship. And I'm so thankful that I have a son. I had one child.
Yeah, I still remember the day my son was born and I held him in my arms. I still remember the day like it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that I would take to my grave.
Yes, yes.
Matter of fact, I remember, like the gynecologist, once the head crown, he allowed me to take the child out. And I was so focused on that. That was probably the biggest thing I've ever done in life. Right? And once I had him out, I remember looking up, and we didn't know what sex it was. We didn't want to know. And then my wife said, I looked up at my ex-wife, and a connection in our eyes, I could see right into her soul that day. And I don't, we're split up now 6 years, but I don't think I'll ever forget that connection when I held that child in my hands. And then I went, once the nurses took the child away to clean him up, I went downstairs to have a cigarette and to ring my sister who's in the room to tell her, yes, I'm now the father of a son. And the emotional explosion that happened to me, I was in the foyer of this hospital sobbing like a newborn baby. I was just crying and crying. And I'm trying to tell my sister, as I said, who's in the room here, that I have a son. I'll never forget that overwhelming emotion that flooded me. And been around the traps, and can be a hard man, and not much disturbs me. I can control my emotions, but that day in this public area, I let these emotions just flood through.
You just let it go.
But
yes. It is one of the best things that I experience, and I get to experience it every day. Just to watch them grow and mature, it is a blessing.
Yeah.
How they come into their own selves. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. These little people.
Yeah.
Every day, I would let my son take a nap on my chest.
Yeah.
Every day, at least one time a day, one of his naps ran on my chest.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And like you said, looking into the soul.
Yeah.
That's another reason I encourage women to breastfeed, because that's where the bonding, oh my God, it starts there with breastfeeding. It starts with just staring in their eyes. It's amazing.
I was actually blessed too, as far as males go. When our son was born, my wife and I both worked nights. So we had a nanny that we'd have dinner and all with the kids and bath them and all that, and we'd go off to work. And we had a nanny that stayed overnight. We got home, we finished work at about 4 a.m. So we got home at 5 a.m. We'd go straight to sleep. And for the first 5 years until he started school, whatever time he woke up, and he's a bit of an insomniac like myself, he'd wake up by about 6:30. So I would wake up and be with him till lunchtime. Then my ex-wife would wake up, we'd have lunch, and I'd go and sleep. So in those 5 years, it was damn tough after an hour's sleep to crawl around the floor with a child and go down parks and go to kindergarten and being all. There's all these other kids with their mothers, and here's my son with his father, who was down the park. Right? It was a tough 5 years, but I would not trade that in for all the tea in China, because the bond that I had and that journey, a lot of 9-to-5 fathers do not get that privilege of watching those first formative 5 years of their child's life until he started school. So I was really blessed through that. It was damn tough 5 years of waking up with an hour's sleep, but
that is a blessing. Yes. I like that.
Because when you look at the 9-to-5 fathers, by the time they come home, their kids are having dinner, doing their homework, and then they're off to bed, and you don't get that quality time with them, right?
I know. I'm going to tell you, I'm just grateful that at the time when my son was born, I had a salon, so he was able to come to the shop. And then when he got a little older, my sister was like, okay, he needs to come to the house now.
Yeah.
So my family was really involved with raising him. I'm so thankful for that. But I got to spend a lot of time, and I still do spend time with him. I thank God for the relationship that we have. Yeah.
I saw your post where he just turned 21, right?
Yes. Yes. And he graduated 21 days prior
Yeah.
to that. And I just thought that was amazing. I was like, oh my God, I was like 21 days later, you're going to be 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really, really proud. It's been amazing, and for him to grow up also and to like the movies that I like. I like, I'm a Trekkie and I like Star Wars, sci-fi, Fast and Furious. Like a lot of the movies we bond over. Music, we bonded over music, and I really thank God for the bonding over music because it was over the music that he began to open up to me and tell me things, and things of that nature. I'm so glad I prayed because I was like, I don't know, like if it's a girl, I could relate to her. I could, say stuff, but I'm like, it's a man, and I'm not even gonna try and say I'm your dad. I'm so not your dad. I'm a woman. I'm a mother. You know, but God just worked it out and had us to bond, and it's, it's a blessing. I encourage everybody to have at least one child, at least one.
It can be
It's
it
amazing.
can be a challenging journey, but it's also the most rewarding thing, right?
You know what? That's what I was gonna say. The rewards outweigh the challenge
Yeah.
because the deal is, let me tell you, I would pray, God, please give me wisdom, understanding, revelation, knowledge, and love on how to deal with him because he would change because he has to, grow and mature. Teach me how to love him and be what I need to be to him so so he can mature the way he's supposed to mature and so that I can grow and not want to punish or chastise and you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we got to let them experience life, not as to where it's going to hurt them, but I have to let him uh, transform into who he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I was just like, it's a
And
blessing. Like I didn't want any more children after him, but if I had to do it all over again to have him, oh, I definitely would. I definitely
yeah. Yeah.
would.
And I think that's a very vital thing that as parents we got to realize, right? We can't live our life through our parents. We've got to let them be who they are. That it is their
Yes.
journey. The same things we
Yes.
ask of our parents, right? But when we are
Yeah.
parents, we sometimes forget what we yearned and wanted from our parents to give us that freedom to live our lives. And then suddenly you become a parent and you try to be this controlling authority to figure that needs to channel this. We've got to, it is their journey, as we spoke before. We're here to live our own soul expression.
Yes.
My mother and
Yes.
father didn't know what I had to live. And I'm learning that as I go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what my
Yeah.
son is here to learn and live. So what gives me any authority to dictate? All I tried to do was give him and his two stepbrothers the maturity to make educated decisions, clever,
Mm-hmm.
wise decisions. But ultimately,
Mm-hmm.
the decision is theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Today, if he
Mm-hmm.
needed my advice, I'd give him that advice. And if he chose to decide, acknowledge my advice, but chose to walk down a different path, I've got to accept that. And all I would say is, okay, go ahead. Long as he's happy to accept the responsibilities of that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
Exactly.
if he runs into a mess while I breathe, I'll go and help him clean it up. But I wouldn't deny him that opportunity to live out his decision, to live out his choice.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably most valid, right? Yeah.
Right.
The
Yes. Yes.
and I think I don't know what my next calling is, and I think I need to. The way I live is,
Mm-hmm.
if that calling comes tomorrow, I will be there. And I
Mm-hmm.
expressed that in a poem called "The Beating Drums," which is in one of the books. I think in the second book speaks exactly of that.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to share that poem?
I'm happy to, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, a taste of Rainier, poet, author.
Beating drums. In the dark of night, the silence is broken. Distant drums beat to the chants of ancient rhythms. My sleeping soul is awakened from deep slumber. The call to walk in life's way, loud and clear. The soul's dormant rest must be interrupted. The time has come to live through the next chapter. Time stands still for no man, they say. Life is a gift to be lived for the soul's learning. A dormant existence, not an option for long. The soul's yearning will create the play. The stage will be set. Our roles must be played. Fear and excitement intermingle of an end unknown. The haunting calls in the still of night. Shadows move silently, busily paving the way. We each contribute on the astral to define the play. The script's only known deep within, where the many lessons lay. Anticipation of heart and mind, a state of being. Tepidly I walk the path of life's way. The synchronicity set. We will meet at an appointed time and place. Guiding hands will lead us, show us the way. Events will occur to create the stage for us to meet. Be we friends or foe, we do not know. The purpose being simply our lessons to share. When the beating drums sound, know that I will be there.
I might have to start calling you Rainier, which actually, because Rainier, what does Rainier mean?
That is actually my middle name. So here's the story. So my full name is Giles Rainier Paul. Only family knew me as Rainier. All my friends, work colleagues, everybody else knows me as Giles. So when I decided to make my work public, I chose my middle name Rainier because other than family, nobody knew who the hell this Rainier was. So people that are colleagues at work and all who've known me for many years, when they saw my first book out and read some of the work, to date, nearly 2 years later, they don't believe that the Giles they know is the same person that wrote this book, because I'm two different personalities at work and with them. I'm just that wild, fun-loving, extroverted guy who's normally the life of a party, right? But they did not know about this, and some of them are still challenged to know and to accept that. A lot of them accuse me of getting somebody else to write this stuff, and it's not me, and I'm being an imposter. So,
well, I'm going to call you Rainier the Spiritual.
thank you, Lavina.
It just, that's what it is. You're from what I have, from talking to you tonight, from hearing your poetry, this has been a spiritual conversation experience. This has been a spiritual experience tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's something, and like I said, for how I was, what's going on with me today, I needed this today, so this was good for me.
The synchronicity of life is amazing, right? We get what we're given. Even that traumatic experience or the bad news that we get, when we look at it in hindsight, you know, I know the past is gone, yesterday is gone, we can't change that. But I look back reflectively to see what I could learn from that. And when I look back on my entire life in hindsight, every trauma, every pain, every tear set the stage for the next event in my life.
Exactly. And this tonight has set the stage for me. That is something, when something comes up that I don't like, that pisses me off, that made me angry, I will not allow it to stop me from being who I am, to experience and exchange with all these lovely souls and spirits that I get to interact with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, because and to also do the work, what I know what I know to do in order to calm myself and to be at peace, so I can release. Because I want to sow and give love, so I don't want to sow anger. I don't want to sow discourse or anything toxic, because I know what my purpose is. My purpose is to build and uplift. It's light and love. So that's what I want to give when I come. It's just like when I deliver a poem, it might have been written because I was angry, but I allow myself to release the anger and for healing to start. So when I deliver it, it's not given in anger.
Yeah.
Me speaking it will be spoken with intensity, but it won't be spoken in anger, because some poems need more intensity than others.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm very mindful of what I give.
I think with that, I think it's important to realize, doesn't matter how much we want to work in the light and help people, we are humans, right? We are still a human with a heart that bleeds. We're here to experience, and we can't shy away from that. One of the mindsets, and I've constantly said this, with history, we've got many beautiful transcripts from people that from various Aztecs and gurus who lived up in the hills, and that talk of thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Well, it's damn easy if I'm living in the hills away from any human beings to not covet my neighbor's wife, because I don't have a damn neighbor. It's easy not to steal because there's nothing to tempt my stealing, right? Whereas
you preach it right now.
So I would, to me, I have truly learned the lesson of not stealing or not coveting my neighbor's wife or not being authentic. When I'm living amongst humanity, experiencing human emotions, experiencing the pain, the heartache, and still not stealing, still being authentic, still not coveting my neighbor's wife, then I have learned the true virtue of that.
Exactly.
Another like
so I give myself a hand today that I didn't do what I really wanted to do, that I allowed myself to process through that, and to come and do one of the other things I love doing, and that's doing retail and experiencing people and whatnot.
And the other thing that I normally don't pay much heed to is, people quoting stuff from texts and books of psychology and et cetera, because to me, the book did not give life. The life gave birth to the book. It was written by another man, another person. We weren't born from a book. We are born unto life, and we create a book. So learn and live your truth from your own life's experience, not about somebody else's experience. And that's why I don't prescribe my work as a recipe for anybody. You mentioned before about within this community and within our own writing, how we can support and uplift a lot of people. There's another lady that you and I both know well who was able to join the room, who does so much for people. Valerie Lorraine has joined the room, and that is no, Valerie, I'm not taking you to church. I'm not a preacher. But yeah, we've been so blessed.
Valerie was on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
She's
we
a
have been so blessed
beautiful soul.
with the people we had visit this room. We had Lene before, we had Denise and Jennifer's being there through, and now Valerie. I mean, you know, all these souls just do so much for the community and so much for people. And Valerie and I probably chat pretty much most days. Sometimes when I'm having a bad day or need a laugh, Valerie would send me a link from somebody else's funny video. And honestly, that simple little act it's priceless, because it just gets me out of that bad frame of mind or that stressful situation at work, just to diffuse the mental stress, and I'm suddenly fine. You know, that one little laugh. We don't need to do a lot to uplift people sometimes, right? And I know I've got one piece that I've got to read, with having yourself, Lavina, as a friend, and having all these beautiful people in this that have joined this room along. I wrote a piece called Friendship, which I shared on one of Lene's lives yesterday, but I've got to read it because I do hold the friendships that I share with, like Valerie and Lene and Denise and Jennifer, yourself. I do consider you as friends, although we've never met in person, right? Someday, God willing, we will. This time last year, I was on the east coast of the US for a holiday, but unfortunately, I didn't know most of you there. But yeah, it's next visit. I definitely will try to connect with most people through there. So yeah, somewhere before we finish this live, I'll read that piece of Friendship. It's a commitment and a dedication to each of these people that I hold dearly within this community.
Do it while they're all in the room.
Yeah. All right. Friendship. A friendship was placed upon your hand, a gift given so willingly. You may place it within your heart, or let it blow in the winds that pass. The emotional bond that is shared, I cannot explain or know why. Our friendship, though, we may try to forget, to satisfy a confused mind, returns time and again, akin to the flight of a boomerang. Returning ever again, in friendship we stand side by side. I try not to fight against the tides of emotion. I simply let life be. How about you, sweet princess? Does your heart not sing in glee? Does confusion eat at your heart, destroying the essence of your being? Do those eyes, as blue as the oceans, cloud with tears of confusion? Will they smile forever, rejoice in the friendship we share? Live life to your choice, dear friend. I am always there. Like a boomerang always returns, my friendship will always be. Hold it in both hands. Hold on to it throughout your days. If our friendship should fall at your feet, tread gently, watching your step. Picking it up, hold it once more, or leave it buried among the burning sands. Such choices we have laid before us as we walk through life's way, right and wrong inscribed in our hearts, for it is our truth we each live. There is no expectation in friendship. What is given is willingly shared. We each inscribe our unique experience in the scripts of our lives, to be read one glorious day when we dwell high up in the skies. Dance to a tune of your choosing. Let the winds of life sing. Smile at each waking day. Welcome the sun's life-giving ray. Let your heart fly, secure in the friendship that came your life's way.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Oh, wait, before I close the show, would you like to say some encouraging words to someone who might end up watching this later, or to say something else to the young ladies in the audience that are so dear to you? because we appreciate the friendship. But if you wanted to say something else to them.
I think my message to anybody is to live your authentic self, to live your heart's dreams, be true to yourself. Nothing else matters. Not society, not friends, not family, but living your dream. You are here to live your soul's experience, for your soul's learning. So summon the strength from deep within to live your heart's desires, your heart's truth. Be your own judge and jury, for the truth lies within your own heart. Step not away from living life through fear or inhibitions or hesitations because of society's rights and wrongs, but live your heart's desire. Your journey is here for you.
Awesome, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a taste of Lavina, Poetic, Empress, coming at you with Rainier, poet, author, the spiritual. Thank you. This has been a blessing.
Thank you very much, Lavina, for this opportunity. It's been a great couple of hours. It's probably gone so quickly. Time just flew through the great discussions that we've had. And thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.
And your beautiful poetry. Yes, great discussion and your beautiful poetry. Yes.
Thank you, Lavina. You're most kind and generous. And it really is a pleasure to have had the opportunity and to participate in this session with you. It's been a great session. I'll cherish this forever.
Yes. So will I. Thank you again. And I will see you on the gram.
I'll see you back on probably next week's show with somebody else, and I'll be in the audience there. And thank you to everybody, Jennifer, Valerie, Lena and Denise, who probably had to drop off, and my sister and my work colleagues and all that. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
It's been...
We so appreciate you.
Really blessed to know you all and privileged to have your support. And I know Valerie dodges between 2 and 3 commitments and shows before she just finished her own show with Lene, and then they both jumped in here. So we're blessed. And
I know, right? Yeah. Yes, Miss Valerie. That's what I said. They're doing their thing, and it is super fantastic. Very much so. Very much so.
And Lavina, thank you very much for your time. And I know you had a bad start to your day, and you still found found it in you to make it here to this show. I mean, I wouldn't have minded if you had to postpone, because as I said, life goes on, right? And life is there to be experienced, and here you are.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't, because like I said, we want the next level. Well, tonight I showed I do want the next level, because for me not to show up for that reason. It was a time for me to manage the anger and not allow it to stop me from doing what I love doing, you know.
Yeah.
So,
well, I hope that is behind you now, and the rest of your day is good, and you find peace and
I'm going. Listen, I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat and relax a little bit and get a good night's sleep.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lavina. It's probably midnight for you, right?
It's, oh my goodness, I don't know what time it is. Wait a minute, let me see what time is it.
If you're in the East Coast, it'll be midnight.
Yes, it's oh my goodness, it is. Yeah. It has been 2 hours. It didn't seem like that.
It didn't. It went pretty. Some people do.
Oh my goodness, thank you. This has been extra wonderful.
Most people that know me you will usually accuse me of being able to talk underwater with a mouthful of marbles. So yeah, the 2 hours did go pretty quickly. It's been great.
It did. It didn't seem like it was 2 hours.
No, not at all. It's actually 2 p.m. for me Wednesday. So I'm in the middle of
Oh,
my work week. So I'm 14 hours ahead of the East Coast at the moment.
oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, so yep, it's 12 o'clock here.
Yeah.
12, is it at? Yep, it's exactly 12 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, exactly 12 a.m. Well, thank you. You have brought me into my Wednesday.
thank you, Lavina. Heartfelt thanks for everything. Thank you. It's been a privilege to
Thank you. You are so welcome. Thank you.
stay in touch. Will do.
Yes.
Divine blessings to you.
Peace and blessings to you also.
Bye.
You get there we go, because I don't want to lose my show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I so appreciate you. And thank you for supporting Rainier. He is amazing. We love him. Rainier, poet, author, spiritual. The spiritual. That's what it's gonna read. So I will see you guys, I believe, next week. If not, the following week with Flow. Wait a minute. Floetically Divine is my next guest. You know what? I'm gonna check the schedule because maybe I can get her in here next Tuesday instead of the following Tuesday. I'm gonna check the date. In any case, thank you guys. I love you. Good night.